Hey everybody, Ronnie here. So, I made it as far as Idaho today, just outside of Twin Falls. Yay, about 500 miles. I'm doing it. I thought I would go ahead and answer some questions. Chris, you say, I live in Mississippi. I'm sorry. The next couple days because of tornadoes. They usually always go around northern Mississippi, so watch your area. You might see a couple in Oklahoma and Nebraska area also. Thanks for the warning. Every single day before I get out, I check the weather forecast for the area that I expect to drive in. That is part of my daily trip plan, but I appreciate the heads up. I think that if a tornado were to pop up, of course it would hit me. Why wouldn't it? Chris also says, like I said to you the first time you had issues, it's the wire harness. It wasn't actually the wire harness. It was idiot technicians. Fortunately, they all work for Peterbilt, so they're professionals. Anyhow, like I said, the problem, it turned out, after they had gone and fixed the issue, they didn't do a software update and they didn't recalibrate the system to include their fixes. That's what all the problem was. Trent asks, does Super Ego allow for you to pick up partials? I don't know. Like not a full load? Sure. The load that I'm hauling right now weighs less than 5,000 pounds. It's not very heavy at all. Fortunately, I'm getting some really great fuel mileage out of this trip. But I'm not entirely sure what you might mean there by partials. Please let me know what you meant. FRB, my friend, how to use the fuel card from Ego when you use Mudflap? Is it possible, or when it is in Mudflap, do you pay with your own card? Yeah, you can't use the EFS card that Super Ego gives you with Mudflap. It's that simple. I have my business, and my business has a bank account, and I have a debit card attached to my business's bank account. I use that debit card with Mudflap, and it gets taken out directly from the business's bank account when I use it. Jack, holy shit, that's cheap. How are you making it? I just did a load 950 miles for $5,000. Right after that, I did a load 448 miles for $2,400. In 3 days, I grossed $7,400. I do it almost every week. There is still good paying freight out there. You just have to know where to look. One of our other trucks is on a load right now, 912 miles for $4,850. Congratulations. I'm glad for you. But the fact of the matter is, this is not an expensive load. The destination was more important than anything else at this point. I wanted to get east of the Rockies, and I didn't want to go the whole northern corridor the whole way. So I found me a load going down to Mississippi. With that said, like I said before, the whole load weighs 5,000 pounds, less than 5,000 pounds. So I imagine it's not that valuable of a load. I'm not hauling computer chips, I'm really sure of that. A less valuable load pays less. There's not enough room for profit if it pays more. With that said, there are some high dollar loads out there. Absolutely. Ask your dispatcher to look for them and see what they can do. Rubber Down Dean says, Was that a new truck, and what kind of engine and transmission is in it? My truck, I got it lightly used. It had 44,000 miles on it when I got it. It has the Cummins X15 efficiency and an Eaton transmission. Mark, fuck that. I agree. That's about how much my PM service was, I'm sure. All right. Chris, picking on me about my editing. I was trying something new that day. It didn't work out. Sorry about that. Roast beef. Not going to make any money just sitting. Been off for what now? A month? It felt that way. No, it wasn't quite that long. But, and I did make some during that time. In addition to that, I don't let my money just sit in the bank account. I have some that sits in the bank account. But most of my money I have working for me. And that's another video. If you have an interest in hearing how I work that, put it down in the comments below and we'll see what we can do. Corey says, analysts said the same hopeful things about Q1 last December. I'd like to believe summer will be much better, but someone needs to state what that optimism is actually based on. The C.H. Robinson numbers are dismal. Good topic. Thanks for the good topic. I wasn't sure how much you guys would enjoy me doing like a more newsy episode. With that said, yeah, you're right. I don't think these analysts know what the hell they're talking about. We can see what's going on, and we can actually look and see where it all came from. The rates are low. The number of loads has actually decreased. And so that's putting more competition on those loads and pushing the rates down even further. A lot of that is because people aren't spending money. They can't spend money because everything costs 3 times as much as it did before the pandemic started. And no, I'm not getting into any of that politics stuff. Matthew asks, thinking real hard about coming over to Super Ego, but keeping an eye on this market and not wanting to make the jump to lease up in a tough market. I live in Longview, Washington, so not too far from you. Is it hard getting loads to come home or leave out with? Yeah, the market's rough, but it's still paying. All right, it's not hard getting loads getting out of here, out of the Pacific Northwest, and it's not hard getting it back in. The fact of the matter is, if you live in Longview, are so many loads coming out of Longview specifically that you'll never have a problem getting a load going out. You might actually be able to get a lot of loads going back in as well. That's one of those really nice places to live, as far as that goes, other than the fact that it's in Washington and everybody in Washington sucks. Matthew again, if I was to come over to Super Ego, would I be able to do my own PM services? Being a truck mechanic in my past, I see it as being a money saver. I just don't know how Super Ego is about that type of thing. I don't know. I imagine there's some sort of certification that goes with it, but call in and ask. Not call me and ask, I still won't know. But call Super Ego, talk to a recruiter and ask them what they know. And if they don't know, they know who to talk to. Freddie asks, is it worth coming there or staying company? I want to own my own truck, but I don't know if the pay will justify it after all the deductions. Can you come home weekly and make money? All right, this is a subject that I actually did want to talk about. I might make a full video about it later. But I get a lot of people that call me and they want to go out Monday morning, come back Friday evening, spend the weekend at home, rinse and repeat. Can you do that? Yeah. The fact is, you get to run when you want, where you want. And I understand there are people that do that. That's not me. The two issues that I see there is, number one, you're not staying out long enough to really be building a good base if you're coming home every weekend. The second thing, beyond the coming home weekly thing, is when you do come home weekly, you're talking about coming home on the weekend. And the weekend is where some of the best loads are, because you go and pick up a load on Friday, you deliver it on Monday, and you're driving all weekend, and the pay on those loads is a notch above the pay on during the week, without a doubt. With that said, can you do it? Yes. Can you make enough money to survive? Yes. Would I ever consider doing something like that? Not a snowball's chance in hell. I go out, I stay out 2 or 3 weeks before I come home, and of course the trip home is always 3, 4, or even 5 days. So I would say you do you. It's not one of those things that would work for me, but when I stay out for 2, 3 weeks plus a trip home, I am building a better paycheck. I think that I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. I drove about 500 miles today, and I filmed it all, so I will put that road footage up here. And if you have any questions for me, put them down in the comments below. If you prefer to talk to me, give me a holler. My phone number is on the screen. And if you have an interest in joining Super Ego, give me a call. In addition to the number being on the screen, I will put it in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.